Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Joshua Feck-Esquest. I am here with Return for game number 2 in this best of 3 series between Michigan Tech University and Lourdes University. Lourdes taking game number 1 in a pretty dominant fashion once it got going around the 20-minute mark. Michigan Tech, they have a little bit of strategy needed to work out, and it's definitely going to come from this pick and ban phase.
Oh yeah, most of them. There were a lot of glaring issues coming out from the Michigan Tech squad. The composition they drafted was revolved around a very strong bottom lane and a lot of global map pressure. I was really looking for them to win out through the bot lane and move that around the map, but even in the winning matchup with the Tristana, with the Lulu, they were unable to capitalize on lane, and there was a lot of ganking going on in mid lane with the Zac, with the Galio, but every other lane just lost. Top lane, the Shed into Maokai matchup didn't go as expected. Bot lane, Artemis and Homecoming actually just smashed them. Probably like I don't know which of those two is my MVP vote right now. Probably leaning a little bit towards Artemis with all the Thresh plays as well. But like, there was just nothing going for Michigan Tech, and they need to find those natural advantages in lanes that aren't being hard camped by a jungler.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they had the team comp to work with in the bot lane. They had the global presence. Top lane Ace Dewanda was on the Shin. Stand United down to bot lane. They had a Lulu for Tristana as well to back him up. Also, we got heroic entrance from Nautilus bot in the mid lane's Galio. You had a lot to work with to help bot lane really accelerate themselves and launch themselves into a very early mid game. They take advantage of it once. I don't feel like I saw one Stand United on the bot side whatsoever during that laning phase. That's very interesting.
I think you're actually correct, and even on top of that, there were some nuances, especially with the mid laner's build. I know that like Twitch Show was kind of ripping him a new one on that, but there was no magic penetration built in, and wasn't actually able just to stay up in damage. Like there was that one time in that last fight where Nautilus bot locked down like 3 members in the backline, was able to get a good amount of damage, and I personally think if he has Leandres instead of Morello Namicon there, at least something that gets through the magic resistance of these members, he could turn the fight right there. But honestly, that's nitpicking at this point. I think there are so many bigger issues to be addressed by the Michigan Tech squad. That's like looking at a crash ship and saying, oh shoot, the cup holders were broken on the 3rd floor.
That is one way of putting it, but no, you're definitely right. There is a lot to improve on, especially with this draft. The Zac pick, we've seen it throughout the collegiate series quite a bit. It has been countered almost every time. I have not seen a very successful Zac pick, despite, I mean, he does have the engage. He does have the let's bounce, bring somebody over into his team. Mm-hmm. That is obvious. I mean, on paper, Zac sounds good, but there's so many ways to counter him. We saw that so well with Artemis last game. That was amazing how many flays he landed.
Yeah. Most certainly. It's something that does need to also be protected with the vision game, too. So it wasn't too good for Lourdes in that early game. Like, all arrow just dying and dying and dying to Zac Galio ganks over and over again. But once they actually established the vision game, once Hiyami and Artemis really got together, grabbed the vision control, and just blocked him out, I don't think Melting Cloth actually had another successful gank the rest of that match, and you need to be willing to spend resources protecting your jungler, protecting that vision game if you want that pick to actually work out pretty well. But we are now over to picks and bans, and so far Michigan Tech are focusing exclusively on All Arrows pool.
Yeah, I mean, they have left the Corki up. They do have first pick over on the side of Lourdes this time around, but they did take away the Azir and Zoe as a result of that first pick, so that is something that we're not going to see this time around. And something that actually Azir was not banned last game, but he still wasn't picked. Now it is going to be a Sejuani being taken away from Melting Cloth, and they look like they're not going to be first picking the jungler this time around. Mm-hmm. Let's see what the last ban for Ace Dewanda would be.
So big things still left on the board. There's still the Gnar on the top lane, which is kind of just the go-to. You want pressure on the top side, pick up the Gnar. ADCs, it's a bit too hard to ban away right now because Homecoming's pool is so deep, and like Ezreal, I feel, is fairly far down on that priority list, but he still made it work amazingly. The synergy between Homecoming and Artemis is just crazy right now. Yeah. But that's going to be a last ban of Thresh, and that still leaves, once again, the Gangplank on the board, even though apparently worst top laner NA didn't get picked. The Gallia, though, that's going to be going over the Lords. All Arrow wants revenge.
Yeah, this is one of those where, like, okay, you played yours, I'm going to do it better, and I'm going to show you how. So, I almost feel like that's a BM pick from Lourdes, but be it as it may, it is still a good pick. Galio being the first pick for Lourdes University, more than likely in that mid lane for All Arrow. And now look at the Corki being hovered over by the Michigan Tech, they're going to pick that one up. So we're going to have a swap of the mid lanes and see who can do one each other better.
J4, J4, J4.
It's been dodged this entire time.
Yeah, I guess that was probably not the worst thing in the world for Michigan Tech last time, because there was the Ezreal, there was the Corki, two things that can jump out of that ultimate. Oh, come on, you hovered the Gnar. You can't go with the Bard. That's just actually trolling. Gnar is an infinitely better pick here.
Yeah, that would be true. And they do switch over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Michigan Tech.
I can tell you are as well. Let's see what Hayami and All Arrow pick. Do have the Galio showing already. Hayami on the ring.
There it is. He's pulled this out in game number 2 for quite a while. I know this man myself. He is pretty happy to throw himself onto the Rengar, but now that is so much backline lockdown. If you want to make sure that somebody stays put for the Galio ulti, Camille's got you covered.
And Camille locked in, banned last game. This time makes it through, so not going to see a Gangplank in that top lane. Going to see a Camille and Chemo very comfortable on that one. Like I said, it banned away last game, so we already see what is happening on the side of Lourdes, what they want to do. And yeah, like you said, there's not going to be a Valkyrie out if you have Camille on the backside, but we do have a Severe locked in over on the side of Michigan Tech, so that is going to give them a pretty big amount of wave clear on that bot side and during this mid game.
So the big thing is that the Severe is so good at delaying the game until that late game. We've been seeing the Eastern strat of taking the Summoner Spellbook, taking the Teleport, just to keep getting back into that lane, just push out, back, TP, push out, back, TP. Obviously, a little bit more time between those two, but it's so good at holding on, because if you start going behind, Sivir can very easily just pick up the waves, pick up the pressure, but then you have to ask the question, what are you really holding out for? And maybe they're starting to look at the Gnar as a potential split push threat, but that's into Camille, and when you have these many things behind the Camille, the Galio, the Rengar, that can be really hard to actually get snowballing.
Yeah, very much so, and the Gnar, they do have, they have the Gnar on the Michigan Tech. They do take away the Zac. Lourdes does to help with that backline engage from the Gnar, so not going to give that one over. Last ban is going to be Varus. I know you've been hyping on the Varus lately. They do want to take that one away from Homecoming, want to keep it away. Rek'Sai also banned out, so they are going to try to limit some of the jungling pool for Melting Cloth here.
Yeah, and this does turn into a bit of a head scratcher. I do believe the go-to pick for Homecoming here has to be the Tristana. It's still that safety, it's still aggressive, and with the amount of backline dive that Lourdes has, it would work pretty well with the rest of their comp. Ezreal is still on the board. So curious to see what he actually goes to. Kayn coming out in the jungler could get quite aggressive, but if you want to talk about aggressive, that's how you do it.
Please do it. I would love to see a Draven in this game.
Homecoming.
Lourdes' team comp just screams aggression anyways, and who complements that no better than the Draven? And is it going to be locked in? It is at 0 seconds, and he's over to the more, probably the safer pick, more logical pick than Caitlyn. That's fine.
Yeah, Caitlyn is often seen being countered by the Severe. That's mostly because the spell shield plus the traps means just free mana in lane for Sivir. But the thing is that Caitlyn does still have a good amount of poke power over Sivir, and with the way that last lane went out, it felt like Kunzi and Demacia were just scared of that ball lane from Lourdes, and oh my gosh, Taric on top, and that is a devastating backline dive squad coming out of Lourdes. They are going to dive, and dive.
Yeah, Tom Kinch actually wouldn't be too bad of an idea to avoid some of that dive. But we're going to see what they pick up here. Tom Kinch has made it through picks and bans on both games thus far. This is the first time he's actually hovered over. We're going to see if Demacia OP decides to pick that one up as a support for Kunzi, and he does. So not going to be on the Lulu this time around. This time we are going to see the Tom Kinch, and that actually may be a pretty good pick to avoid this backline dive of Lourdes University.
But here's the thing, the win condition is still yet to be seen. Lourdes doesn't really have the AoE to carry out with teamfights unless Kunzi on Sivir gets uber far ahead. There's not really that great frontline. You want Gnar on the split push threat, and Kayn probably going to tanky for him, but still isn't quite that frontline tank that you wanted. There's not enough counter engage, not enough disengage to really warrant a disengage composition where you just kite back and get ready to turn once Lourdes to spend all their abilities. And all that leaves on the board is Gnar with the split push, and that is still a really finicky winning condition against something like the Camille with the Rengar, Galio, in tow. So for right now for Michigan Tech, they have to get this top lane ahead. If Ace does not get the lead, there are very few ways back into this game.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. There's a very big snowball coming out from Michigan Tech University, but it's, I mean, you could also say the same for, of course, Camille and Rengar. So it's going to be really interesting to see who can be the more aggressive team this time around. But let's not forget, All Arrow is on the Galio, so that is a huge factor with the global presence. I suspect that Lourdes will be using that in the bot lane a little bit better than Michigan Tech did in the bot lane last game. And I'm very interested to see. And yeah, like you said earlier, throwing on the Taric is just a huge, huge buff to that as well for that backline dive, because now they can stay safe with the Cosmic Radiance and keep themselves from dying immediately and possibly delete 1 to 2 characters now.
Honestly, though, there's not really much reason for Lourdes to go on the bottom side. Homecoming plus Artemis, especially Homecoming on the Caitlyn, is going to be fairly safe by itself for a majority of this game. So, sure, she's going to have a little bit of a push game, but it's not going to be too over the top, and Homecoming is the ADC who always picks up the mini dematerializers to stay competitive in that laning phase. But just look once again at this top side of the map. Camille, Rengar, Galio, they can make plays on mid, they can make plays on top, and once again, Michigan Tech are very much relying on Gnar to get a lead, but if you have a Rengar, if you have a Galio constantly on that top side of the map, there is no way that Gnar is getting ahead. Sure, he can 1v1, maybe on a great day he can 1v2, but I am hard-pressed to believe that this man can deal with 3 big members like that.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is how much you can actually be thrown into these team fights. So that is going to be interesting to watch. But as I talk about that, spectator delay is counting down. I do want to give a shout out to our social medias before we get into this game. You can follow us on Discord, join our Discord community by typing !Discord in the chat and get our Discord link. Join us, be heard, have a voice, do what you do on Discord. Twitter, you can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/CStarLeague, and of course twitter.com/CSLLOL if you just want strictly collegiate League of Legends content. And Facebook, you can also follow us there at facebook.com/CStarLeague. If you want to review any of the matches from past weeks that we have broadcasted, check out any of our shows. We put all of our VODs on our YouTube channel. You can check that out at youtube.com/user/CStarLeague for all of that, all the action that you may have missed, or any of the material you want to go and watch one more time. And while we do put all of our VODs over onto YouTube, all of our broadcasts are broadcasted live on twitch.tv. They've been with us for since the very beginning. We wouldn't be here without them. They're the largest streaming platform in the world, and we really appreciate their support throughout our endeavor for promoting collegiate esports in general, not just League of Legends. So give them a shout out on Twitter, twitter.com/Twitch, or facebook.com/Twitch if you want to give them a shout out on Facebook. And thank you very much, Twitch. As I say that, we are counting down. Timer is on 0. I timed that twice now. That's actually really nice. I'm happy about myself on that one. We are getting into loading screen, and yeah, these team fights, they're gonna be interesting. Lourdes is out for blood, it looks like, and I'm very interested to see if they're gonna get that blood.
Yeah, the big thing with Lourdes also is they don't really want a team fight. They want to have these little skirmishes where all of a sudden out of nowhere a Rengar appears, all of a sudden out of nowhere a Galio appears. Because when you look at this 5v5, it's a little bit finicky, not really that much of a front line, and the AoE damage, unless they pick someone at the start, isn't quite there. And if everything is even going on into this late game, I'd almost give it to Michigan Tech for having just the superior straight up 5 versus 5 team fight. But once again, that is if all things are even, and if game number 1 and anything to go by, Lourdes, they don't want these things to be even.
No, not at all. They started out a little bit even in the first going, about first 10 to 15 minutes as far as KDA was concerned, but the farming was just so superior on Lourdes' side. They were able to bully out Kunzi and Demacia OP despite having what seemed like the more aggressive lane, the stronger lane. Nautilus bot was able to take out All Arrow with the help of Melting Cloth, I think 3 times overall. But All Arrow was able to just keep his CS up and match it still, despite those 3 deaths. And not to mention Chemo also keeping up with Ace Tawanda's Shin, even after he had the time at. There's just so much strength in the individual laning phase of Lourdes that it's so hard to shut them down early on to where they can't progress into the mid game easy enough.
Exactly, but keep in mind that you guys heard me hit the 2-item spikes, the 2-item spikes, the 2-item spikes on and on and on last game. But that doesn't really exist for this team right here. Homecoming is going to be pretty good in the early game once he gets that like first BF sword. He's still pretty dominant in the laning phase, and then really wants to crest out at the end of his power trough at like the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th item. But it's more focusing around the team fighting, around the team play. Sure, you want to get Chemo onto something like the Triforce, just giving a little bit of stuff to run with, but it's a much more play-driven game. It's a much more play-driven style than a build-driven style, so I'm curious to see how that one works. As Tech, they stack on the bot side, but it doesn't look like they're actually going to use it for anything.
No, it doesn't look like they haven't even thrown out any wards yet, but we do have some summoners disconnecting on both sides, actually, both ADCs, so go figure on that one, but be it as it may, we are at a time, a pause, I should say, but we see the reconnected already coming through for both ADCs, which once again is quite curious.
I mean, that's fair. Just knock out all ADCs, 4v4, it seems about right.
Yeah,
Who needs them anyway?
We don't need ADCs.
Exactly.
we don't
Overrated role.
Yeah. That's exactly right. As we're gonna see what Kunzi and Demacia OP, if they can be a little bit more successful in this bot lane. I am interested to see it. Like you said, there might not be as much focus from Homecoming onto Homecoming and Artemis's lane from Lourdes, but I'm interested to see how Kunzi and Demacia OP play this lane in general, because again, last game they had the aggressive advantage in the lane. Yeah, well, there it is. There it is.
That's the game.
It's done.
Hayami, trash wash-up player, KDA player. Get him out of here.
Which, fun fact, so Hayami, after last week's game from Columbia College, he did fall off of the top KDA player, but overall, Lourdes is still in the. I know, but just throwing out stats. Stats are vicious sometimes. Overall, though, Lourdes is still in the top 3 for KDA team, so they still have quite a bit of a record to keep here, because having a great KDA means that you're not dying as often, and that usually equates to a very successful game most of the time.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things that kind of stick out to me about Lourdes, is that I'm not sure whether they are still in the national championship conversation. Sure, without a doubt, they're still pretty high up in the north. I expect them to make a very deep playoff run, and maybe even, God forbid, a national championship appearance, making their way through the play-in stage. But they're just lacking that cleanliness. They're lacking that mystique, the last piece of finesse on top of their play, where they're always very susceptible from time to time to these sorts of misplays. It's not the cleanest games in the world, where I think there's definitely a little bit more improvement to be had on the squad, and maybe the next few weeks, maybe the beginning of the national championship, conference championship would be enough. But as I was speaking there, Melting Cloth, he's going to help himself towards Hayami's blue buff.
Yeah, Hayami still does have a level advantage. He's able to take more camps before Melting Cloth could, as he was counter jungling. But yeah, nice aggression coming out from Melting Cloth. It's a little bit different of a play style than in the Zac that he's showing right now. And Hayami can't answer that one back. So that's going to be a 3-buff start for Melting Cloth.
Interesting adaptation from All Arrow here. He's not going with the Electrocute that we have been seeing some Gallios go with. It does give you a lot of damage in that laning phase. But in fact, he's going to be going for the Spellbook, so going to be able to swap out for the TP, away from the TP, and also just have that on a lower cooldown. So curious to see if that we do get some use out of that one. And going back to Captain Returns, Minion Dematerializer counter extraordinaire. We only got one this game so far, and that will be All Arrow in the mid lane. A little bit shocking not to see it once again on the Homecoming with such a push-heavy lane on the other side of the map. Curious to see how that one does actually play out.
As we see Kunzi, he is still falling a little bit behind, but he does have 4 minions here, 3 minions I should say, in his wave here. So I'm interested, again, I'm very interested to see how this bot lane is going to turn out in general. Melting Cloth, there's his 3rd buff right now. So again, 3-buff start for Melting Cloth. That is a big advantage over to him, and something, again, we didn't see last game. I'd like to see the aggression. I try to see the adaptation. Maybe that's what he has to do in order to stand up to Hayami, just to try to get these lanes set up properly. But a nice spell shield coming out from Kunzi to dodge the Piltover Peacemaker just in time. And might be seeing a little bit easier of a lane in the bot side, but still, Homecoming, he is still going to be up in farm, just slowly but surely.
Yeah, all things considered, I do like the adaptation coming out from Michigan Tech. They were very aware that Kunzi and Demacia were uncomfortable really plating this lane phase, trying to play in the front foot, so they gave them a bit safer, a bit more scaling focus of a lane. Not really sure if it works out better with their composition, but overall, hopefully that should lead to a little bit better laning phase for them and better scaling going on through.
Yeah, very much so, but that spell shield is going to help out Kunzi quite a bit, so let's see what happens. Still no presence from the junglers just yet. We don't see too much from a Rengar until level 6. We don't see, well, we haven't seen Melting Cloth do too much. He has been keeping Hayami behind a little bit, but Hayami is still farming quite a bit. He's actually up in farm over Melting Cloth.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see too much of a Rengar level 6, but then at level 6, the enemy team doesn't see Rengar at all. That is the entirety of the idea with him. But yeah, he's gonna be trying to make some plays. Top side, no real vision control set up just yet, but it might be Melting Claw looking to make these first few movements or just completely toy around with Hayami's jungle, but there's nothing to steal away there.
Now, Hayami's doing a great job clearing his entire jungle, and Hayami is going to go back at level 5. He's going to come back a little bit stronger, and you can see All Arrow also going back as well. It's like Hayami maybe catching out Melting Cloth. A lot of chunk there. Nice Ebola does lock him down, but it is just going to be a chunk. As Melting Cloth, he's able to walk away. Actually, honestly, Hayami walked away from that one. Did not want to risk it, seeing that his mid laner was back. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Homecoming taking a little bit of damage as well. Needs to be careful. Still up in farm, so he's not sweating it too much. Has the Artemis Carrick there to keep him safe and protected.
It was something I very much enjoy. The pressure coming out of Melting Cloth in this jungle. He spent so much more time focusing on this early vision control and banging his way down to the bot side. I do not expect a bot lane tower dive coming out anytime soon. That's just not really the playstyle of Michigan Tech, and versus something like the Tarek, like the Caitlyn, it can be quite difficult to pull off. But so far on the top side, Ace is doing a pretty good job. Just the characteristics of the melee to range matchup should be benefiting Ace quite a bit up here. Yeah, he's just putting down the pressure.
Yeah, nice play into the minion wave there. Knows that if Chemo wanted to retaliate, he would have to deal with a portion of minions as well. So nice play around that, getting the advantage, especially when Nara's out, has that little extra tankiness to deal, take some of the damage back that Chemo starts to dish out anyway. So yeah, like you said, very nice play by Ace to Wanda in that top side. They both have teleport up. They have not went back yet, but it looks like Chemo is going to go back. He's going to lose a wave as a result. More than likely, more like a half a wave, as Ace Tawanda is going to push it one more time before going back himself. And now this is the time we see everybody going back on both sides. We already saw the bot side of Homecoming and Artemis going back. We see the level of the item advantage. They want to keep that, but Melting Cloth making his way over here. They've taken advantage of the overextension from Lourdes bot side, but gets spotted out by a ward. Knows he's not going to be able to gank too successfully there. Hayami's also on the bot side, so they're just going to back off here.
And here's the issue. Not only with this ball lane plus jungle combination, but just with the Michigan Tech squad in general, they have no actual form of engage. Sure, they can run fast, they've got a lot of damage, but unless Melting Cloth somehow actually solidifies a decent engage on his own, or Demacia Cup. Ooh.
Oh my god, that was so much damage going down onto Demacia OP, even as the big tank. You have that gray health bar in the extra shield from Demacia OP. Almost did not pop it, so very close. Actually got the heal at Kunzi, so that is a big play coming out from Lourdes. Nice, successful. Hold on.
Yeah, it's old.
Hayami, wants to taste the fear into everybody. Here comes All Arrow. There's the first blood. It goes over to Artemis as the heroic charge comes in as well. Heroic entrance, I should say. Melting Cloth, he has to blow his flash just to avoid a kill, but Homecoming, I should say, flashing forward as well, gets the kill onto that one. 2 kills on the bot side for both of the bot laners of Lourdes.
Yeah, and that is how you use the Gallium map pressure around this entire game. Great way to actually set up that bot lane dive, getting 2 kills now, 1 on Artemis, 1 on to Homecoming. Really going to help out that bot lane, and just getting the first tower as well. Really well played there from Lourdes.
Yeah, very clean, very successful gank on that bot side, and now All Arrow back in the mid lane because it has that teleport as well, and that is how it should have been played last game from Nautilus bot and company, but it wasn't quite to a success, and this time Lourdes, they're playing a success, and now actually gets a flash out of Nautilus bot too, so All Arrow making his presence felt in the bot side and able to 1v1 Nautilus bot in the mid lane. He is very comfortable right now.
It does look like Lourdes is going to opt into continuing the laning phase for now. They have the advantage bot lane, can set up yet another dive. Not even a dive, there's no tower to go through. We can set up another aggressive play once Hayami has the ultimate up. Once All Arrow has the ultimate up again, they can grab that dragon and maybe even rotate it over to mid. But top lane starting to go a little bit more into Chemo's favor just based off of that farm. Is still getting shoved in, so definitely doesn't have too much pressure to speak of, and is still really looking for that Triforce spike. Once you get that, things can turn around pretty heavily, especially if Lourdes does start putting pressure on that part of the map. But, I mean, look at where the control wards are for Michigan Tech right now. They are hard defending this top side.
Yeah, very much so. We see Melting Cloth up there as well, so they are both teams. Actually, it looks like not both teams. It looks like Hayami is going up to the top side, I should say. Nautilus bot going to be taking out a ward here, but maybe seeing some contention, like you said, in this top side. The blue buff is up. Hayami knows that Melting Cloth knows that it has a tracking. He has tracking of it, so they're just going to try to defend it. But Nautilus bot wisely maneuvering around as well. Uses the package, not going to be using that offensively or anything of the sort. Melting Cloth doing his best to be a nuisance here, but all the while this is happening, the bot side of Lord able to take out the dragon. Now it looks like Hayami trying to, well actually, Melting Cloth going into Hayami, dueling him, not going to work out. Hayami picking up that kill, and there is Chemo locking down the box. Hextech ultimatum, keeping everyone from getting out. Ace to Wanda, fail flashes, Chemo picking up that kill. 2 more kills going over to Lourdes.
And even Artemis comes up here to join the fights. Lourdes just has the map control at this moment. It's good ideas coming out from Melting Cloth, but poor execution. The idea is when you invade, you're basically looking at the enemy jungler and saying, I will beat you with whatever skirmish you want to bring. And that only works when you have the winning lanes and the winning skirmishes. And once again, when the enemy team consists of the Galio plus the Camille plus the Rengar, you're very hard-pressed to put together a 3-man squad or just a 3-man combination anywhere on the map that's going to be able to beat that out. And Corki still hasn't even completed the first item. Ace to is not that far ahead. Here's the fight.
Oh yeah, there's the dive. You got Cosmic Radiance to assist you. Narbar not big enough to gnar out, and they are going to pick this one up. Who's going to pick up the kill? That is going to be Hayami. He wants his KDA record back.
Oh, they're not done just yet.
Yeah, no, they are not. Looks
maybe they actually are.
Yeah, Kunzi's going to back off. They're not. No worries. Yeah, they're going to back off of Kunzi. He's backed up a little bit too far. All Arrow does have his heroic entrance. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. He does have his entrance. It's a hard word for me to say. I don't know why. But either way, nice dive on the top side. Another kill going over to Hayami.
Yeah, and so far in this game, Lourdes is looking just like a completely new roster. Game 1, they played it very slow, made a lot of mistakes around that mid game, but so far it has been nothing but go. They have been using this map pressure to the fullest of its extent, and if you're Michigan Tech right now and you're wondering, okay, how do we actually improve on this early game match? How do we improve on the full map pressure with the big ultimates? This is basically 101 how to play with Galio, and All Arrow, he's making it look easy.
Yeah, he's doing a great job in this mid lane. Actually hasn't got a kill yet, obviously hasn't died, but also has 4 assists, almost has 100% KDA. 80% KDA is still not bad, considering there's been kills on the top side and the bot side and the mid lane. Actually, I don't even, not the mid lane, sorry. All Arrow, Nautilus bot has not died yet, but kills on the top side and the bot side, and he still has pretty nice KDA for himself, considering the amount of kills on his team side. Now, Demacio P, you cannot go that way whenever Homecoming already has its first item completed along with the BF sword.
And this is looking even more dire than the gold count would have you believe. The gold, I mean, it doesn't look too good based off the gold. 4K lead currently for the side of Lourdes, but there's just no pressure anywhere on this map. Top lane, the key to Michigan Tech actually having a decent mid to late game, is so far behind right now. 1-0-2 versus 0-2-0. The gold leave about 500, and here's Hayami to solidify this kill.
Yeah, you cannot jump out of the Hextech ultimatum. That is something that they want to rely on whenever you're Gnar, but that is not going to happen. Another kill going over to Hayami. Meanwhile, Melting Cloth on the top side. This is a 2v3 in favor of Michigan Tech, but All Arrow has something to say about that with this heroic entrance. He is going to get a kill over to Homecoming for his team. Now, Homecoming does go down. Kunzi flashing to pick up that kill. Nautilus bot, he is trying to cut them off as well. Artemis is going to go down as well. Double kill for Kunzi. Now, All Arrow is the target. This is exactly what Michigan Tech needs, but it's as far as fights go, but they're losing towers as a result.
And this is very reminiscent of game number 1, back when All Arrow was on the Corki, was split pushing top lane, but the other members started a fight. And it's just this split idea that Lourdes can sometimes fall behind on. They don't know whether to double down, as that's a double TP on mid lane. Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Yeah, they're just gonna actually waste TPs now. So that is something. They're going to defend that turret, if anything, but I don't think they would have been able to take it too far. And now they're going to go on the offensive. Hextech Ultimatum is not up, but they may not care about that. All Arrow, he is very powerful. Can he go back into him? There is almost Winds of War picking up Nautilus bot, but he gets out just in time.
Yeah, not quite that big just yet. It's certainly riding a pretty high at the moment for the Lourdes squad, but now with that bot lane T2 gone as well, Lourdes are just looking for every objective they can take on the map. Big thing is, though, they don't have the best vision control of the top side of this jungle. Is Artemis and Yami, they're going to do the two-man squad with Melting Pot.
Yeah, he's not in a very good position. He just gets rooted down. He's going to go away, or Hayami, I should say, is just going to walk away from that one, just show, hey, this is my jungle. I'll be back for you later. And now Melting Cloth going to go into the mid side, while this top turret is going to go down. Third turret going over to Lourdes now in the 15-minute mark.
And this is very slow rotations coming out from the Michigan Tech squad. They will not be able to defend this top side. And if they do not rotate now, they will not be able to defend this next one. Complete vision control established for the Lourdes University squad. And this is just Michigan Tech playing so far on the back foot. They are not able to make any proactive plays right now, and they're just really slow.
Yeah, they are. They're actually going to. Nice, Tom. That's what Tomkins is for there. When you're caught, you get to eat them up. Eat up your ADC. Now Ace to Wanda hopping over the wall. Melting Pot there as well. Cosmic Radiance going to keep people alive. Thrill the Hunt coming out for Hayami, so he's going to go invisible, and he's going to launch back onto Melting Cloth. Pick up that kill. Hextech Ultimatum keeping Kunzi in place. He is going to go down. Demacio OP is the next target as well. Homecoming picking up that one. Ace to Wanda has to blow a flash. Are they going to go for it? Yeah, Hayami blows a flash, but it's actually Ace in the hole from the backline picking up that kill. That was a 0 for 4. All Arrow and Nautilus spot in the mid lane. This leaves Lourdes to just push freely in the top side.
I mean, Nautilus bot doesn't even come over to try to contribute to the fight. He's holding down the mid lane, and this is split pressure even worse than we saw out of the Lourdes University squad. Michigan Tech, if you want to hold on to anything right now, you need to put the full force of your squad into it. And now 10k gold lead down before that 20-minute mark, before the 17-minute mark even. Only towers remaining outside the base are the 2 towers in the mid lane, and Lourdes, they are just completely rolling over this match. Even the inhibitor tower on the top side does go down. Herald will be that next objective going right on over, but if that gets dropped in the mid lane, there could be no base remaining for this Michigan Tech squad.
Yeah, now they're going for the Rift Herald. Let's keep in mind that Homecoming, he has 2,500 in his pocket right now. He has not went back and picked up his next big item. Had he done that, he probably would have taken out Melting Cloth with those few shots on the top side. But now, with the Rift Herald in the pocket of Lourdes and Homecoming going back now, he's going to pick up and finish off that Infinity Edge. Huge power spike for him. He already had a power spike given how early he had the Static Shiv anyways. That's just going to add insult to injury whenever these team fights come up into Michigan Tech. And again, couple that with the, what is that thing? Rift Herald, sorry. With the Rift Herald.
With Shelly.
Yeah, it was Shelly. That is going to be a huge advantage. Even more so in the favor of Lourdes.
Yeah, most certainly. And the word team fight probably just striking absolute fear into the Michigan Tech squad. And I'm not even sure you want to take a fight at this point. 2 heads completed right now for Homecoming on this ADC, with only the 1 completed on Kunzi on the other side. And he's even had a spec so far as to picking up the Ninja Tabby just to stay alive. Top lane, 1.5 items versus the 1 item of Ace to Wanda. And these gold leads are just taken off all across the map. 2k in the top lane, 2k in the jungle, 1k in the mid lane, 3k in the ADC, and then about 2k on support. Lourdes, they're just rolling in the money right now.
Yeah, they are pressing that advantage at the moment. They are shoving in the top side. All Arrow is just split pushing. He has teleport. He has the heroic entrance. I don't know. I hate saying that word. Either way, he has the entrance. He has his ultimate to come up to join in on the fight as well. We see a lot of grouping. They may be trying to cut off All Arrow from getting into this mid lane, but as that happens, Rift Herald is popped. Demacio OP, he's going to go down. That's Homecoming, picking up a 5th kill of the game. All Arrow just completely zoned off Michigan Tech.
And this is just Michigan Tech being currently, honestly, just being like chickens with their heads cut off. They don't know how to respond right now, and it is severely showing. Lourdes, they are not letting up anytime soon. Here comes Engage.
Yeah, Chemo, he is going to be protected by this big charge from All Arrow, and this is Melting Cloth. He is inside and not going to be successful in the kill. Acing the hold out. That was a nice Cosmic Radiance. It's not going to be able to save All Arrow. It does save Hayami, and they're going to stick around. Homecoming flashing over the wall. They know they can. There's the Hextech Ultimatum. Melting Cloth, he's the next one to drop as well. That's a double kill for Homecoming. When is Melting Cloth going to go down? There it is. Chemo going down. That is an ace for Lourdes. That might just be game.
Oh, that's definitely game. 20 seconds remaining on Nautilus 18 on Coonseed, 14 on Ace to Wanda. They actually, maybe not. They're pushing pretty hard, but they might just look for the double inhibitor, fall back. Baron's up in about 30 seconds. Play it nice and safe. No reason to push too hard here. Is 13k gold advantage for the Lourdes squad. Still before the 20-minute mark with 2 inhibitors going on down. There is very little that Michigan Tech can actually remain doing. Please take the inhibitor. Thank you very much, Homecoming.
Yeah, they do eventually pick that one up. Yeah, that is, you don't ever want to leave the base without that one. That is for sure. But now there is almost a 20k gold lead in favor of Lourdes. This is the time where there is no next game to really think about. Homecoming actually just DC'd, so that would more than likely result in a pause pretty soon unless
Lourdes doesn't even need him at the moment.
know,
4v5,
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7-1 and 5 ADC, what's the point?
Oh my god.
Get him out of here.
Let's take a look at All Arrow's build, though. We did see a lot of controversy as far as the build that Nautilus Bot had with his Galio, and we're seeing All Arrow's build now. Started with the Rod of Ages, just like Nautilus Bot, but this time went into second item Leandries, and that is
much better.
One of the reasons, yeah, much better. That's one of the reasons why you can't duel him right now with all that penetration.
Exactly. Even if you're building a little bit of magic resist, he's still going to be able to hit you pretty damn hard. And with that, he's going to be able to zone people off of this Baron buff. Because imagine if this Michigan Tech squad tries to zone in on this Baron, Hayami engaged with All Arrow ultimate on the backside. That's just game over right there.
Ooh, that knock-up Mave saved Melting Cloth there. Very nicely timed by him. They had the stun onto him from Artemis, but
here it comes.
The thrill of the hunt, and that is going to be eventually Melting Cloth is going to go down, and Ultimate's not going to save him. That's a double kill for Hayami. Really working toward that KDA record. 6-0-9 now. Teleport's coming into the base. I think Lourdes finally just wants to put this one into the record book.
Yeah, and there's a bit of a chase going down the top side. Couldn't say, I don't know if you're that fast.
Yeah, he's not that powerful, he's not that fast, not that tanky. He can't do anything against Chemo right now, who is extremely fed in his own right. 6-0-11. Him and Hayami are fighting each other for the best KDA of this game.
Well, there might only be one more kill to acquire, maybe 2. Melting Cloth and COP are going to be coming back up. Ace to Wanda is still here. Who will win the KDA Wars? Find out tonight.
Oh, it's not Chemo. He gets shoved into the turret, into the base, I should say, and lasered down to death. Very nicely played to ruin the KDA of Chemo. That is going to be Hayami picking up that victory. Lourdes overall picking up the victory to 2-0 against Michigan Tech. They advance to next week where they are now 5-1, or no, 4-1 I should say, going
4-1.
4-1, yep, going into week number 6, and they just need to win one more match, one more set, and they are into playoffs.
Yeah, they looked incredibly clean in that last match, and you gotta be terrified for whoever they're gonna be up against. They will be up against another one of these 4-1 teams, so we'll be potentially with the playoff lives on the line going to that last week of play. But I mean, game number 1 to game number 2, that just looked like a completely different Lourdes.
Yeah, they I don't know, they really worked out the strategy of how they wanted to come into game number 2. Now, game number 1 was a lot more conservative, even if they did shove in bot lane quite a bit. But number 2, yeah, they aggressed heavily on that first gank on the bot side and just did not stop from there. And they rolled their way into a victory going into next week. Unfortunately, Michigan Tech, they are out of the playoff contention. They go down to the Timo Cup, where you do have the option of winning for riot points, things like that. So you can buy yourself some skins, but it's not exactly what it's not the ending of the story that you want. And that's for sure the thought that Michigan Tech is having right now.
Yeah, obviously there are a few better ways to end the season than on a low note like that. And honestly, that was an incredibly brutal game, 47.1 to 31.2k at the end of that match. And that was only 22 minutes in. Baron Buff didn't even go down once that entire match. Lourdes using it at the end there for the bait. And definitely a team that showing a bit of promise, definitely takes a lot to make it this far in the season while still being in playoff contentions, and just needs that extra little push. Maybe next season we'll be seeing them back. And this is going to be a great match for them to go watch back on where did they get stuff wrong, where did Lourdes beat them out, and hopefully come back next year even stronger.
Yeah, and you can do that on our YouTube because we put all of our VODs there, youtube.com/user/C-StarLeague. Great segue return. You're the best. And I might as well just go and give it a shout out to our other social medias as well. Exclamation point Discord. You can type that in there under the Twitch chat. Find our Discord community. Join us, have a voice. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/C-StarLeague, twitter.com/CSLLOL for strictly league related content. And of course, our Facebook, facebook.com/C-StarLeague as well. Want to give a shout out to Twitch as well. Thank you for being there for us. The largest streaming platform in the world today, definitely for NA, and we wouldn't be here without you. Thank you very much. Give them a shout out, twitter.com/Twitch, facebook.com/Twitch. You can also follow us. I'm Feques, P-H-E-Q-E-S. We'll type that in the chat. My friend here is
It's right there. It's under you.
Thank you. Oh yeah. I forgot we have those overlays. That's how you spell my name. So very good. Other than that, we're going to wrap up the broadcast. We'll be back in about an hour with a game that is actually pending right now as far as who's going to be playing. So again, check us out on Twitter, check us out on Facebook for those updates, and we'll be back in an hour. Once again, my name is Joshua Feques Quest here with Return. Congratulations to Lourdes, and see you folks in an hour.
Once again.